A tiny town hit big. How thieves are testing the faithful, one church at a time.
Nearly 300 crashes a year on one St. Louis road. What's being done to stop what some say might as well be a racetrack?
People in St. Charles are standing up against the stench. The latest effort so big, opponents of the trash dump are packing an arena.
St. Louis's #1 evening newscast. This is 5 on Your Side.
We start tonight in the 5 on Your Side Weather Center. A massive cold front is headed for the bi-state. We're expecting drastically cooler temperatures this week and even potential snowfall. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. We're here with Chief Meteorologist Craig Moeller to start things off. And that cold front is bringing in some active thunderstorms tonight, Craig, right?
Yeah, right over your shoulder here, Ann. You can see we have a thunderstorm warning until 6:15. That's outside of the area, Montauk and Cole counties out in central Missouri. But this has been a powerful line. We've been tracking these storms through the afternoon. Want to talk to you about the timing around St. Louis. So let's take a look here as we get into the big board, and we're going to break all of this down for you. You're going to find the showers and storms rolling across the entire area. Already on Facebook, I've been interacting with some of our viewers, just asking general questions. Hey, is it going to affect this area or that area? The bottom line is we're all going to see a shot at rain, and there'll be some embedded thunderstorms as well. Now, whether or not they're still strong or possibly severe when they get through the metro, that's what we're going to be watching. They do really appear to be losing a little bit of strength in some pockets, but there are still some very intense thunderstorms, and it's possible that there could be a few isolated strong to severe storms even around the metro. So let's time it for you. Again, you can see as we go over the next hour to say hour and a half, around 7 to 7:30, the showers and storms push through the western area. This is just rain. The really cold air arrives once all of this clears the area later tonight. So you don't have to worry about anything frozen for now, but we do have the strong storms, very gusty winds, maybe even some hail with a few of these cells. The timing there, 9 o'clock across the metro. It will continue to march east, southeast. The line will eventually clearing Mount Vernon around 11 o'clock or so. And after that, gradual clearing through the overnight. Temperatures fall mid-30s tonight after the storm is out. And then as we look over the next several days, it stays chilly. You can keep an eye on the weather with the 5 on Your Side app, and you can download it for free from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Just search KSDK.
Burglars are targeting churches and schools in Franklin County. 3 of them are in the small town of Sullivan.
5 on Your Side's Marianne Martinez spent the day there and is here now with the story. Marianne?
And Mike, nothing valuable was taken from 2 of the churches, so it's not clear what the motive was behind the break-ins. And a pastor we spoke with says he's hoping the burglar comes back to his church, but for a different reason.
It's upsetting to our peace of mind.
It is a place to learn about faith, but at times that same faith can be tested.
When I came down and I saw the damage, I was just heartbroken.
Mary Woolley is the principal at St. Anthony Catholic School. She said someone broke into the building.
It was just hard to believe because there's nothing here to take.
Nothing was stolen, but doors and windows were shattered.
The principal thinks the burglar used one of these cinder blocks to break through the glass door, costing the school thousands of dollars in damage it cannot afford.
It's over $2,000, which doesn't seem like a lot, but to a school like ours, where every penny counts, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's out-of-pocket money that we have to spend.
That same night, Temple Baptist Church was broken into.
A rock was thrown through this window, and the person who did it then opened the window and entered the building through here.
Pastor Scott Perry says the burglar walked through the hallways in the kitchen before setting off an alarm. Nothing was taken, and the church's security system captured video of the burglar, which the church turned over to police.
And we want them to know there's a better way.
Pastor Perry says he hopes to see the burglar again, not climbing through a window, but instead walking through the church doors, seeking help.
If people are having difficulty, if they're turning to crime, drugs, whatever, is the church someone that can help them choose a better path?
There is video of at least one break-in in Sullivan, but the pastor said the burglar was wearing a hoodie, so it was difficult to get a good description of him or her. Mike and Ann.
All right, Marianne, thanks. Well, the Franklin County Sheriff's Department is investigating 7 more burglaries at churches in the last couple of weeks. Churches in Pacific, St. Clair, Union, Gray Summit, Londell. They were all hit. Money, electronics, and even a church van were stolen.
The 5 on Your Side I-Team's digging into details on that horrific crash on I-55 that killed 4 young women and injured several others. Police say it happened when a semi-truck failed to slow as he approached cars in front of him.
A 53-year-old man by the name of Muhammad Yusuf Jama was at the wheel. Police say he is from Colorado.
But investigative reporter PJ Rendawa has also been checking out the company that owned the truck he crashed. And she's here with more, including an update on this investigation. PJ.
That's right, Mike and Ann. Illinois State Police tell us there is no indication that the driver Jama attempted to stop before hitting the vehicles in front of him. Investigators also say they're looking at all possibilities of how this could have happened. However, November's fatal crash wasn't the first for the owner of the semi. Ohio-based Forward Air Solutions, a national corporation that ships goods all over the country. Forward Air Solutions has roughly 330 trucks and close to 700 drivers, but the Department of Transportation fined them a total of $40,000 in 2014. First, for failure to test a driver for alcohol after being in an accident. Now that's a federal rule. Second, they were cited for not having the documents needed to back up the driving logs of their drivers, showing how far and how soon they reached their destinations. Now, why is that important? Because experts say many semi-accidents are caused because the drivers were exhausted. Now, in the past 2 years, Forward Air vehicles have been involved in 38 accidents, 13 that caused injury, and 1, not the I-55 crash, which ended in a fatality. Now, we made multiple calls today to Forward Air Solutions for more information on the latest in this wreck, including whether I-55 crash driver Muhammad Yusuf Jama still works for their company. We're still waiting to hear back from the business. And we also want to know what, if any, punishment he may be facing from the company. We'll continue to keep you posted about what we learn.
All right, PJ, thanks.
If you have a story for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, let us know by emailing us at 5onyourside@ksdk.com. You can also call our tip line, that number 314-444-5231.
There's a new man in charge of schools in St. Charles. Assistant Superintendent Jason Seffrit will be promoted to superintendent in July. It was decided at a special board meeting on Friday. Seffrit's been with the district for about 2 years. He says among his priorities will be student diversity.
It's certainly an area, again, to look at our diverse student population and make sure that all the diverse needs of every student is being met through, obviously, curriculum as well as instructional processes.
Seffrit's also served as principal in the Fort Zumwalt School District. He replaces Dr. Jeff Marion, who recently retired.
MoDOT is launching a new campaign to try to end deadly crashes and save lives along Natural Bridge Road in St. Louis. 5 on Your Side's Art Holliday joins us with a closer look at the problem and what's happening this week to try and fix it. Art?
Well, and in the last 5 years, there have been 18 deadly crashes on Natural Bridge Road. 15 of them involved pedestrians. Overall, there have been 1,400 crashes along that same 4-mile stretch during that time. MoDOT officials say you're more likely to get into a crash on Natural Bridge than on similar roads across the state. Now people are taking action. State Representative Joshua Peters of St. Louis is working with a group of local and federal officials to study traffic problems along Natural Bridge. He says issues include speeding, jaywalking, and problems with lights and crosswalk signals. The effort started with a road safety audit by MoDOT last summer.
To really come up with the statistics that are needed to be able to build an argument to the federal government to identify these areas so that we can bring more funding down or pull more funding down from the federal government to improve these roadways.
MoDOT will hold 2 meetings this week to hear from people who live along Natural Bridge about the biggest challenges. The findings from that road safety audit are expected later this month.
And we're watching right here part of this big campaign by MoDOT. You can see a lot of different videos to increase awareness about this.
Well, the point is to emphasize how speeding, jaywalking, and not paying attention behind the wheel and other things that are easily addressed are all combining to cause many of these deadly accidents.
All right, Art Holliday, thank you very much.
Coming up, murder charges are filed after police say an Emo's delivery driver killed a robber. Why the driver isn't facing those charges himself.
As a huge cold front is moving in, preparation comes to mind. How one dedicated family with a familiar name is giving out more than 14,000 winter coats.
And saving Mark Twain's boyhood home. The history right here in Missouri that's turning out to be worth a pretty penny.
3 people are trying to make sense of what happened after being shot at this morning on the side of the road. 2 middle-aged women and a man pulled over around 1:30 on Euclid after having car trouble. That's when another man approached one of the women who was outside the car and started shooting at the car. When the woman started to run away, another man fired multiple times at her. No one was hurt, but police are searching for the suspects.
New developments tonight after a delivery driver shot and killed a robber in South St. Louis. It happened last week in Dutchtown. Today, murder charges were filed, but not against the driver, against a man named Montel Smith. Police say he was one of the people who robbed the delivery driver last Thursday, which is a felony, and since someone died, he's on the hook for murder charges. According to court documents, Smith also tried to commit suicide by drinking bleach after the botched robbery. The staggering number of homicides this year continues to rise. So far in 2017, 194 people were killed within the city limits. That's a full 20 more than this time last year.
Up next, a garbage facility may go up right behind some homes in St. Charles. A huge crowd's expected to show up and fight it tonight, and we'll have a live report.
And saving Mark Twain's boyhood home, where people raised more than $450,000 for the cause. And a reminder, we're dedicated to highlighting people who are making a difference in our community. If you know an inspiring person, it could be even a little boy or girl, someone making a difference, and perhaps it's a story that will touch our hearts. Let me know personally. Send an email to mbush@ksdk.com. A big crowd expected tonight to fight a proposed trash dump in St. Charles County. As we've reported, the County Council wants to put a waste transfer station at Frieden's and Arena Parkway right behind a neighborhood.
People who live around there have turned out in droves at 2 public meetings already.
Another meeting starts in less than an hour.
5 on your side's Ray Strickland is live from the Family Arena in St. Charles with more. Ray?
And residents are expected to be out in full force at this County Council meeting tonight. This issue has gotten so big, drawing big crowds, that they moved the County Council meeting to here at the Family Arena in St. Charles, because at the last couple of County Council meetings, it has been standing room only. Now, we've been following this fight since residents first got wind of this waste site being built. They've come out in droves to put a lid on this plan they believe will do no good for their community. As of now, Metro Field Development is using the site for construction waste. Still, residents simply don't want this site to be built because in many cases, like you said, and it will be in people's backyards. Residents also say it will bring traffic congestion, health problems, and lower property values. Now, the Planning and Zoning Commission denied Metro Field Development's request to build this site, and we're told from the County Council chairman that they usually go in line with the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Now, this County Council meeting starts at 9. We're going to have the latest on that, and it is important to note that this is only a public hearing and no decision will be made on this. We're told that the decision will be made on December 8th on whether the waste site will be built or not. And so from St. Charles County, I'm Ray Strickland, 5 on your side.
All right, Ray, thanks. It'll be a heated meeting and much more coming up tonight at 10. People are donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to save the boyhood home of Mark Twain in Hannibal, Missouri. That's him standing in front of the house more than 100 years ago. It's a museum now located about 100 miles north of St. Louis on the Mississippi. Supporters started an effort to collect $600,000 6 weeks ago. They've already got 3/4 of that. Much of Twain's writing was based on his life in early 1800s Hannibal.
North County kids in need will get some extra presents this year thanks to local police officers. Officers with the Ferguson and Florissant police departments patrolled the Florissant Target earlier today and filled their carts with $5,000 worth of toys. Those toys will eventually be given to around 70 kids from area schools.
Trying to find some of these toys that the kids are looking for, and then once we get them all together, we're going to transport them back to our station. We have 3 vehicles outside, 2 dare vehicles and a transportation vehicle, and then once we get them there, we're going to sort them all out, and that's where all the fun begins.
That's some investigative work, finding the toy that everybody wants. It's not easy in December. Officers will wrap up those toys and deliver them on December 13th at the Ferguson Community Center. A donation from Electrical Connections made that effort possible.
Thousands of coats were delivered today to help the homeless stay warm this season. They were dropped off at the Helping Hand Food Pantry in North St. Louis. It's all part of Kurt and Brenda Warner's warm-up effort. Earlier this season, they collected around 14,000 coats from all over the bi-state. People at the food pantry say the generosity helps them keep paying it forward.
And God has blessed me to be able to teach because I've learned, and God has blessed me to give because I've gotten. So I'm just trying to do what I think is right. The rest of the 14,000 coats will be delivered to other shelters, service agencies, and schools. Of
course, Kurt Warner was a Super Bowl MVP quarterback for the Rams when they were in St. Louis, and he and his wife have been doing this for 17 years.
And they are so needed, especially starting soon. We're about to get smacked with this cold front, so what's the latest?
Yeah, really, really soon. You know, the Warners do a fantastic job with that coat drive, and we're going to need those coats in the coming days. I figured to drive home the point about the chilly weather on the way, we would start with a reminder about Heat Up St. Louis as well. We're talking much, much colder weather. We almost hit the record today, just 4 degrees away from that, but the cold is coming. So this is the time. You might not have been thinking about things like a coat drive or about Heat Up St. Louis, but this is the time. Know that the cold weather is coming. Tonight we're looking at wind gusts, and we'll check those for you, but we've already seen some gusts up over 30, 35 miles per hour. Evening showers and storms on the way. We could see more than ½ an inch of rain in some areas, and we've been in drought, so we do need the rain, and it looks like a pretty good chance for that as we go overnight. Windy and cooler for your Tuesday and really the next couple of weeks. There'll be some brief little warm-ups where it gets a little bit milder, but really cold air as the weather patterns flipped. We've been talking about this, I think, for about the last week and a half. We were advertising it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Well, guess what? The cold front is coming through. And out ahead of that front, we're seeing the winds again gusting over 30 miles per hour. Several locations. These are reported wind gusts. Salem, Flora, Effingham, Litchfield, Alton, St. Charles. You see out towards Jeff City, Rolla. All of these areas very breezy tonight. The line of storms still out to the west. There is a watch out there. You'll notice there's only one warning, and that's down in the southwest part of Missouri. So we're not seeing additional warnings issued there. That is certainly good news for us. Atmosphere probably a little more stable around St. Louis, so maybe we don't get the severe storms, but potentially some very heavy rain and then some gusty winds and some lightning coming through as well with some of these heavier cells. The whole line is moving off and through the area. We'll see these cells moving along at about 40 miles per hour. So this is not going to be a long-lasting event. What's going to happen, those winds are really going to pick up. You might hear your windows rattling a little bit. You'll hear the rain, maybe even a little pocket or two of some small hail, although we haven't had any recent reports of that. We'll continue to watch that line coming through. You see the timing here. As we go through 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's when we'll see the best chances for the heavier activity with the line pushing through the St. Louis metro area. And then it works off to the east by 10 o'clock. The easternmost counties, and 11 o'clock really starting to clear the area. Skies will clear overnight and during the day tomorrow. Take a look at the rainfall projections. As I mentioned, these areas shaded in blue between ½ an inch and maybe an inch or so by radar estimates. We'll look for some of those totals, maybe not quite that much, but we've certainly been in need of the rain. This is what I really wanted to draw your attention to. Look at these are feels like temperatures or wind chills through the overnight and early tomorrow. You see the cold air settling in. Tomorrow when we're getting the kids ready for school, temperatures in the mid-20s when you factor in the wind. So very, very cold overnight, and tomorrow it's going to be blustery. Highs tomorrow around 46, the air temperature near 36, but the wind chill's much colder. You can see temperatures staying chilly, highs only in the 30s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Snow showers Friday night.
But just a dust.
Very minor amounts right now, but we'll be watching.
Bread, milk.
That's from her.
We'll be right back with sports.
The 5 on Your Side Sports Desk is sponsored by Mattress Direct.
The only thing that matters in St. Louis sports right now is Giancarlo Stanton, and we have no idea on how he feels about our town. And there's nothing more the Cardinals can do. They can pick up the salary and give up the players to get him, but we can't construct a beach, make the temperature balmy, build 50 new nightclubs populated with thousands of actresses and models. We are St. Louis, a great baseball town. So what if San Francisco wins the Stanton sweepstakes? We need a plan B, and here he is, Josh Donaldson, the former American League MVP. You would have to trade with Toronto to get him. Donaldson is a 3-time All-Star third baseman who's hit 41, 37, and 33 homers in the last 3 years. Will Toronto trade him?
You know, it's going to be bad PR-wise, but I think they really want to trade him. The question is, you trade him now or trade him at the trade deadline. I still think Donaldson makes the most sense if the Blue Jays, sit down and say, you know what, we're not going to win this year. We got to make the move. And I think they got to be realistic. I mean, they're not going to win the division this year.
Terry Beckner is definitely coming back for his senior season. The East St. Louis Star has made an incredible recovery after having ACL surgeries in each knee. This year he has 7 sacks. They were the most for a defensive tackle in the SEC. What a great career he's had at Mizzou. And that'll do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 6. Wheel of Fortune is next.
If you have a story to tell us about, please send an email to 5onyourside@ksdk.com.